Hello and welcome to Break Art Now. Up to this point on the channel, you can find a video about stories set in the summer and another one about stories set in autumn. Now, it is time to talk about the stories set in the coolest season of all, winter. Please do share your thoughts in the comment section. Now, it's time to announce the manga of the week, Assassination Classroom. A surprisingly fun tale. As always, I do fan art from the manga of the week. Hope you like this one from Hotaru. Remember, you can get the manga of the week via the link on the description. While you're there, follow me on my socials. I love to interact with you all. Also, take a look at my store where you'll find lots of quality products, plenty of original designs. Finally, if you are into fantasy and science fiction, then you love the break Sare. Now, let's jump right into action. First, let's talk about pros and cons of setting a story in the winter. Now, as I have mentioned on previous seasons, this is not an exhaustive list. If anything, it's rather short. Let's go with some pros. Winter is known for being one of the harshest seasons. I mean, it's still my favorite season, but that's beyond the point. Anyway, the thing about winter is that it offers so many opportunities to tell tales about surviving on a difficult environment. In contrast, winter definitely offers a beautiful scenery, and one should never underestimate what a good scenery can do for a story. This is not exactly one of the pros exclusive to winter, as the other seasons have their own beauty, but I thought it was worth mention. Now, an actual pro that's sort of exclusive to winter and somewhat tied with the scenery is the snow. Granted, in real life, snow can be annoying to say the least, not to mention dangerous. In any case, a story that uses snow as one of its components is, by essence, a winter story. I know I should also mention the holidays, well, the ones that happens to be in the winter, like Christmas or Hanukkah, and while they have a great variety of fantastic stories, I'm not sure if that will count as a pro for having a story set in the winter, but please do let me know what you think in the comment section. Now, let's go to the opposite side, that is the cons of setting your story in the winter. There are no cons. Winter is the best season, let's just move on. Nah, just kidding. Actually, there is one big disadvantage to the winter tales, and it's tied to what I mentioned earlier about the holidays. Yes, those stories are great and all, but they do take away from the winter, as those tales are about the celebration that happens in the winter, and yet somehow that becomes irrelevant. You know what I mean? Are there any other cons? Sure, probably, but at this point, I think we can go to the next part, that is talk about the stories that are set in the winter. First, we have the Chronicles of Narnia. Well, not all of them, but the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. From the setup to the end, that works because of winter. In fact, the winter is a key component of the plot. A witch has cursed a mystical land with an eternal winter. So it's clearly a story that needs winter to work. Now, the idea is to defeat the witch, so one could argue that the whole winter thing is secondary, as she could have chosen any other course. But could she really? Because whether it's from the book or the movie, winter fits the character. In the book, more from a personality perspective, while on the movie, more from an aesthetic perspective. The next story is not 100% winter, but it does need winter for it to work. The Snow Queen, which in my opinion is a masterpiece. Now, the reason it needs winter for it to work is a combination of two things. The first one is kind of obvious. I mean, it's right there in the title. We are talking about the Snow Queen after all. So, not having winter in it would have been an odd choice to say the least. The second reason this tale needs to be set in the winter, or rather, it needs winter for it to work, is Gerda the Protagonist. Now, remember what I mentioned earlier about facing a harsh environment? Well, Gerda certainly does, and in great part, winter makes it so. Now, on this type of videos, I usually give 3 different examples of stories that need the respective season to work, and winter is not an exception. So our third story is Game of Thrones or A Song of Ice and Fire. There's a quote that even those who are not familiar with the story have heard: winter is coming. This is because they say that so often in the story that back when the show was popular, they generate memes, tweets, and whatnot regarding it, and one does not say winter is coming over and over again if winter has no relevance to the story. In other words, winter is important for the story to work even before it arrives. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have enjoyed this, and I wish you all come back next week. Bye bye.